How does Outreach create custom church kits for pastors with all the sermon and media content that you need for your sermon series? We'll talk about it today. Hey, ministry leader, welcome. If you are enjoying our podcast, please like and subscribe and share episodes on social media if you would. Our sponsor for this season of the show is our friends at outreach.com. You can check them out for all your banners, signs, digital mailers, and more. It's a blessing to have sponsors like them make this content available to you completely free. Case study today, as I'm talking with the team at Outreach, we partner with them to create custom church kits for the churches that they serve. From series designs to bumpers to preaching material, social graphics, and more. I want to share with you how we create these kits for them, and this might give you insight into what elements to include in your sermon series. So you could consider using their kits for your church, or this could give you insight into what to include in your own sermon series at your church. So we'll talk about all of that and more today. Hey, ministry leader, you can reach more people on social media with short videos created from your sermons. Our friends at Outreach have just released an AI-powered site that creates bite-sized shareable clips from your sermons and then connects directly to your Facebook, Instagram, and X accounts so that you can post the clips extremely fast. You can check it out and get 2 free clips at digital.outreach.com. That's digital.outreach.com. Hey guys, this week I welcome my friends Jamie Staller and Carrie Gamble from the team at Outreach. Jamie is the Vice President of Marketing, Sales, and Partnerships, and Carrie is on the marketing team at Outreach. She's responsible for overseeing the church kits that Outreach creates for churches. So here's my convo with the Outreach team. My friends are in the house. Jamie Staller, Carrie. I always confuse, Carrie, is it Gamble or Gambrel? There is no R. There is no R.
No, there's
correct?
no R. It's Gamble.
I get it right every time I write it down, but every time I try to say it, I'm like, wait. I got to not say the R. But anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out. Jamie, why don't you kind of get us started here? Tell folks a little bit about Outreach, about your role at Outreach and what you guys do there.
Yeah, I'm Jamie Staller. I'm Vice President of Marketing, Sales, and Partnerships. I've been there 10 and a half years as of right now. Outreach, it was founded in 1996 by Scott Evans and his wife, Susan. They were in Colorado and moved out to San Diego area in California to plant New Song Church. And as church planners, they go through all the things that you do as a church planner, like who's doing this, who's doing that, who's doing the legal, who's doing the marketing. And Scott, as a marketing guy, got put in marketing for the launch and had a great turnout, started speaking at some conferences about what they were doing. And more church planners were saying, hey, can you help me with what I'm doing or with my launch? And, it just kind of grew. They started doing marketing to more church planners and more churches, and it just grew and grew and became what it is today.
Yeah, and so you guys give people a snapshot because you guys do a lot of different things, and people have been hearing about you through this season of the podcast. We've been talking a lot about you guys, and you guys have graciously sponsored last season and this season of the podcast, and just so grateful. So that people have been hearing about you guys, but maybe give people a snapshot, Jamie, of maybe the print side and the marketing side, just a couple of departments that you guys serve churches with.
Yeah, we so Outreach Incorporated, we're have a couple areas. One thing that we're known a lot for is Outreach Magazine, and we have a whole team for that works really hard, does a great job. Ed Stetzer's the editor-in-chief right now. We have churchleaders.com, Church Leaders Podcast, sermoncentral.com, faithit.com, foreverymom.com. and many others. Where Carrie and I spend a lot of our time is with outreach.com, and mostly on the product side of things. So in that realm, we're mainly working with churches, helping them do outreach and branding, right? So think about outreach as a category, and we've got everything from direct mail postcards to social media ads to invitation cards, which I think is one of your top return items, and probably one of the cheapest things you can do is just creating an invitational culture within the church to equip your members to be inviters. Door hangers, things like that. And then on the branding side, you get into, all of the first impressions and multiple touch points of helping people make a decision of maybe visiting the church or even staying at the church. So outdoor banners, flag banners, indoor banners, street sign banners, welcoming you in, park here, this kind of stuff. We also have outreach speakers. So if you need a guest speaker to come in, create an invitable event, we've got a whole lineup of speakers to help with that as well. We also do movie licensing. So if you are a church and you want to do a movie night, we've got, a number of movies that you can choose from, and you need to buy a license to legally do a public showing. So we've got The Chosen that's very popular right now. That is free for churches. So if you go to outreach.com, you can find it there. But a lot of the big movies that come out, like I Can Only Imagine, God's Not Dead, Passion of the Christ, you name it, a lot of those we carry.
Yeah. All right, Carrie, you're up. And so for people to know, like, Carrie's the one, you get things done on the ground. You're the one who makes things happen, gets everything done. If it needs to be done, you're it. We love you. Tell people what you do at the company and kind of your role.
Sure. I'm the Director of Marketing and Products for the Products Division. So our goal is to help communicate all the resources and tools that are available to churches to the church leaders so that they know what's available to them and they can make good decisions. They can talk to our sales team to get some advice and that kind of thing about what can fit their budget, because we have things that for the smallest churches with the smallest budget all the way up to mega churches who need to completely rebrand their lobby or whatever. We can help with anything. So my job is to make sure that churches know about all our opportunities for them and to make sure that our website's current and that all the new things that come out every season, because we're always releasing new things, that those are front and center and people know all the new exciting offers that we have for them.
Yeah, good. Now, we connected with you guys a few years ago, and Jamie, let's kind of walk this story out maybe. You guys were moving into creating a church kit subscription, and I'm not sure where you were in that process before we came along. You can kind of dive in here on that. But kind of tell us how that started, why you guys wanted to serve the church in this way.
Yeah, it's interesting. We do a lot of different things, and I guess we'll put this in the realm of, say, publishing. And we've done publishing for many years, creating books and sermon kits. And internally, we call them church kits. So it'd be like, say, a sermon with matching graphics and videos. And the videos might be invitational videos for your campaign, promotional videos to make announcements to on Facebook or internally with your congregation, or countdown videos, things like that. We'll do small group studies and gift books and things like that people can just the church can hand out to either members or visitors. And we've been at places where, let me say this. We never get bored at outreach. There's always something that we're doing. We've got all the day-to-day whirlwind stuff. And then it's like, hey, here's a new idea. What if we do this? Hey, here's a new idea. What if we do this? On and on and on. So oftentimes we're just wearing a lot of hats. And so, one of the, with many years doing church kits and publishing, we had this idea to do church kit subscriptions. We were switching from physical kits to digital kits, which made it a little bit easier because then the production timeline, we didn't have to worry about like paper and boxing and assembly and all of that. And so, but then as we got into it, it's like, going from a place where we had internal people who could do copy editing, but, maybe shouldn't be doing copy editing just because they're busy doing 100 different things and just trying to crank it through. And excellence was a big part of what we were trying to focus on. And someone else on our team started talking with you guys, and I heard about it, learned more about what you guys do. And it's like, man, this is great, and so often, I was talking to another friend where they're at a mega church. And even at a mega church, they're outsourcing a lot of their custom stuff because, although they have full on creative teams, and sometimes even multiple creative teams, a lot of times that's just an all out effort just to make Sunday happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so all these kind of new ideas that come up, it's like, man, it's just one more thing. And how can we do this and not kill our team? And so as we started talking to you guys and seeing a lot of your work and the quality and between like you and Steve and some of the other people on your team, it's like, man, we can go with these guys and they're going to do great quality. We'll get it out on time and we'll be able to do much more volume than we could do on our own. And so that's really why we ended up going with you guys. And I'd say we've been really, really happy with the outcomes and the entire process.
Well, and I think we've seen that over and over with different ministries that, you guys have designers and team there on staff, and you still use a team like us. And I think a lot of churches, just like you were saying, Jamie, a lot of churches and ministries do that as well. I think there's a misconception, and I've worked for 2 mega churches. There's a misconception that you have all the money in the world. Oh, mega church, they have there's no budget limit. Well, that's a misconception. It's a myth. Everybody at every level has a budget. And so at some point, it just makes sense to have, wait a second. We could either hire 10 or even less full-time staff members, or we can get a team of 10 people for a lot cheaper, and the quality can stay just as high, if not higher. And so, yeah, that's what we've seen as we've been serving churches and ministries and that's why we exist, is to kind of come alongside you guys, ministries like you. Carrie, why don't you let's kind of dive into that process. So we've been doing this for the last few years, where we will meet with your team, even in person, which we love, just kind of coming together, hanging out for a few days, and really diving into the content of what are the felt needs, that sort of thing. Kind of walk that process out for us.
Sure. Yeah. So we, like you said, we love to meet with you guys too. We have a great time when we get together and really brainstorm, and we take a look at research. We look at church trends. Outreach Magazine puts out the Outreach 100 largest and fastest growing churches every year. And so we look at those churches' websites. We look at what type of sermon series they're doing, what some of the key topics are that we're seeing in the marketplace, church Christian book topics that are really popular or trending. And then we pray about it. And the whole team comes together. We talk through, we throw a bunch of ideas onto the board. We talk through them. We talk about, where we see, the felt needs in the communities that we live in, and the kind of things that people who aren't going to church are struggling with, and how we can help churches reach them with a topic that really speaks to their hearts. And so we talk through all of that. And then of course we look at the ministry seasons, because we obviously do church kits for Christmas and Easter and Back to Church Sunday, which is in September. And so we, plug those big 3 in, and then we take a look at sermon series that will fill in the rest of the year. so that, pastors can be like, okay, I've got, some time between Christmas and Easter that I need to put in a series for New Year's, or I want to do a series for Mother's Day, that type of thing. And then we just try to figure out what works best for those seasons. We have found, the last year especially, we really targeted super scripture-based kits, so that we are looking at what scriptures are really speaking to the cultural trends that churches are trying to help with, and really tailoring kits to fit that, to be deep, and to really help meet those needs. And then we just kind of time them out throughout the year, and, we can do, and put out as many as we can. We usually do between 10 and 12 kits a year with you guys, and put those out on a calendar and release them regularly so that church leaders always have something new they can look at.
So that's one thing you're hitting on that I really love about you guys is this isn't just like cranking out stuff just to crank out stuff and have a library. You guys really dig in. It's prayerfully thought out. It's research based to know what is the felt need in the community. What are pastors really wanting to preach on? And I always tell this story because it's amazing to see from our vantage point, your vantage point too, to watch pastors from different parts of the country, different parts of the world, preach on the same thing that have no clue that each other are preaching on that. It's just how the Holy Spirit is working, that, there's the winds of the Holy Spirit is the only way I can explain it, that that is just these topics that the Lord wants the church to kind of focus in on. It's very interesting to see that. And so that's one thing I really love about your research, Carrie, is that your team really, really cares about what the pastors are wanting to preach on. They care about the felt needs of the community. They care about, and as you were mentioning, like this last time around, that there's this wave of getting back to biblical truth, of focusing on books of the Bible, focusing on discipleship. Do you want to talk that out, any of the research that you guys kind of discovered and kind of what you're seeing as far as how those have worked and different things? Have you gotten any feedback on that?
Carrie, I'll jump in just real quick,
Sure.
and maybe you can, feel free to fill in gaps. But as you were saying, that another thing that came to mind is we really try to listen to our customers and the churches that we're working with, not only of like what would they like to see, but also like what things inside of the kit they find really valuable, right? And that's constantly pivoting, right? So, what churches were wanting and needing to make Sunday happen, or use these kits and make the most of it, is different now than it was 10 years ago. And so even as we get into this new year, we're evaluating that, sending survey to our customers, trying to evaluate the survey results, and then go through that, then make some decisions and pivot accordingly. So between listening to customers and also listening to our internal teams, we try to have an overall culture of listening.
Yeah, one really good example of that was when COVID happened and when a lot of churches went online. One of the things we added to our sermons that you guys do for us is discussion questions at the end of those sermons, so that if you've got someone who's, interacting online with people who are watching your service, they can actually use those questions to start conversations on Facebook or on YouTube about what the pastor's speaking on, and give people, some more meat that they can really dig into and develop a relationship online to engage. So
let's walk that out, Carrie. What is included? If people are listening, okay, I'm interested, I'm a pastor, why would I need these kits, and what's included that would help me?
Sure. So, obviously pastors love to create their own ideas and their own contents, but, sometimes the whirlwind, as Jamie said earlier, is a little crazy, or you're coming off of Christmas, going towards Easter, your staff's tired, there's a lot going on, or you just need extra time for ministry, that, one-on-one meeting with people in your church, really developing people. And so that's where one of these kits comes in play, where we can provide you a kit that has, a 1 day, like one Sunday, like you're going on vacation and you just want to make it easy. Here's a Sunday kit. Up to 4 or 6 weeks of a series on a particular topic. So we provide you the sermon manuscripts. Those come in a format where you can edit them. You can change what Bible translation the verses come through. We use, NIV usually. But you can change that, and you can go in, put in your own stories. We have places where we are looking for stories about, like talk about a time when you were facing a conflict or whatever. Places for you to put your own stories and illustrations in. Places where you can change, which verses we're calling out, or you can add extra verses. Completely customizable, but it gives you a whole sermon, not just an outline, that you can use. And it's kind of plug and play, or it can be completely customized by you when you get it. It also comes with sermon slide graphics that match the theme of the kit. So you can put that in your presentation software and put all your information that you need for that week to present on screen. We give you service motion videos now, which are like a welcome or a thanks for visiting or a join us next week sort of message. It just plays at the beginning of your service or at the end, whatever. We give you videos. We give you a countdown that matches the theme so you can start, getting people out of the lobby. The bumper leading into the sermon. Trailers you can put on your social media pages to help promote, starting in 2 weeks, starting next week, sort of messaging, little preview of what you're going to be talking about that you can put on your website too. Social posts and motion posts that coordinate with the series. So they have little key points from the sermons. It has maybe a scripture that we're using. They're invitational too. So it's got like, hey, please join us for this series. That you can post on all your socials to get people excited and encouraged and to really think about what your topic is about. And then we've also added children's lessons to a lot of the kits. So the kids can be learning some of the same lessons the adults are. So when you go home with your kids, you can actually talk about, oh yeah, we learned about that in big church too. And you can have discussions with your kids about what they're learning in Sunday school, and it all coordinates together. And then when you get to the major holiday kits, Christmas and Easter, we even give you a suggested order of service with worship song suggestions. So, for a traditional or a contemporary church, just, and you can obviously change that up to fit your church, but it just gets you started, and it gives you all the graphics and everything you need so that your communication people can take a little bit of a break. They can just plug and play. And it just makes things a little easier on your staff, and and gives you an opportunity to do other ministry for a little while.
Essentially, sermon kit, graphics, videos, children's stuff, kind of all packaged together to make it really easy, and then use it how you want to use it. You were talking, we started this kind of section talking about process. A couple of things stick out to me, other things worth mentioning. So we talked about listening. So we try to listen to our customers and the churches that we're working with. But also when we get together, we meet, we're also listening to your team, Carl, and like what trends you guys are seeing. Mm-hmm. And the children's stuff was one that you guys were saying, hey, we're seeing this, doing really well and being asked for a lot more than it used to. And it's like, okay, well, what would that look like? And we kind of spelled it out, and it's been really, really well received. So in that regard, I'd say another reason why we like working with you guys is because you also understand the church, and you're in the church, working with the church, you're volunteering at the church, you've got church staff, that you're working with on your teams. And so it's not just, some agency out cranking out work for you. It's people that understand the church and the needs of the church and what happens inside of the church to help get things done. The other thing about the process too is, we talked about prayerfully considering things as we look at the year and what are we going to focus on. But I'd say one other thing I enjoy is just the friendship and fellowship that we have kind of developed with each other over the years. And so when we get together in person, a good amount of time at the beginning is like, Carl, how you doing, man? What are you reading in the Bible right now? And what do you feel like God's speaking to you? We kind of start there, right? And that a lot of times that kind of like sets the foundation with an understanding of what everybody's going through as we get into this careful time of prayer, asking God to speak to us, and of what topics we should focus on for the year. So,
yeah, great point, Jamie. And I think that whether you use our team or not, I think that if you're going to outsource, you need to find a team that's aligned with you in those things. Whereas even if you use something like a Fiverr or something like that, you might not always get that, or you really have to dig to kind of find that, right? Like that has value because you want somebody that understands ministry. And that's why I only hire believers, because if we're making a bumper video for you guys for a church kit that a bunch of churches are going to use, the visual content and the language in trying to explain that, communicate that, the Holy Spirit plays a role in that. Even the little language pieces of so you got to say it this way, not that way, or this a visual needs to look like that, or David wasn't that old in that story, or whatever. Those types of things are very important to kind of know, or at least have a grasp of, to kind of help pastors communicate the gospel, which is what it's all about, right? Where the visual and the kit is not what saves people. It's a tool for the pastors to use to communicate the gospel well in their world. So let's talk about that some, Carrie. Talk about the ministry leader. Who are these kits for? And you hit on a little bit of how they're using them. And I love the editability of each kit. We're going to give you a manuscript. You don't have to use it. We're going to give you a countdown. You don't have to use it. You can kind of plug and play and move things around. But who is using these? Are these more communications? Are they more senior pastors? Who's the audience for these kits?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that we serve a lot of churches that are small to medium sized. And so some of our pastors who are using these kits are bivocational. So they've got a regular job, 40 hours a week, plus they're doing ministry as a church pastor on the weekends and obviously in the evenings and all that kind of thing. So I think we do have, senior pastors, teaching pastors that are using our kits and really, but then I think they're also being used by communication directors who are looking for, and they may also be bivocational. They may be volunteers who are just helping out their churches to try to build a ministry online on social media, or to put together the sermon slides on Sunday morning as the worship team's rehearsing, trying to get everything right so the pastor can get up and it can be seamless. So I think we do reach both of those audiences. And I think sometimes it's, the church secretary, especially if the church is small and it's like, I need to find something to help pastor. I need to get this done by the weekend.
They might not be skilled in those areas of design, video,
exactly.
Yeah.
And they may not have a designer in their congregation or on staff. They may not have somebody who really knows much about technology, but we give them the tools they need that they can plug into ProPresenter or even into PowerPoint. If they're still using PowerPoint to put their slides up on Sunday morning, we give them PowerPoint slides.
Yeah. Transparencies, we got that too.
Right.
Yes.
Sharpies so that they can and wipe off things for the.
Those are hard to get digitally these days, though.
Yeah, true. All right, Jamie, let's get into this. Why have you guys chosen as a ministry? And I want to get into why pastors would and other ministries would do this as well. You guys could, in theory, take ready-made. Ministry leaders could take ready-made off the shelf, or you guys could take something ready-made and kind of tweak it for. Why have you guys chosen to spend time, money, resources I mean, this is a lot of time involved of us researching, of us coming together. All of that is a cost. It's time. It's, a heavy involvement. Why have you guys chosen to put your energies in this way, to custom instead of ready made?
Yeah. One, it takes some load off of our team. And we can do it internally. We might not be able to do as much. If we do it internally, we want to, do our best to try to do it with excellence. But we're able to do a lot more through you guys. And what I'd say too is what we experience is it saved us time and money. And the time is also money, right? So that's been a big win. But, a big part of our heart is to help equip the church, to equip their members to be inviters, and equip the church to spread the message, the gospel of Jesus, right? And if we can help them do that and look good doing it, that's a big win.
Yeah, good.
I think the other thing that,
good.
Sorry.
Go
I just wanted to mention the other thing that you guys really help us with is, we're going to do a sermon series kits for Christmas and Easter and Back to Church Sunday. And we have designs that we come up with. We have designers. They come up with a theme for that year. We come up with the things that we think are going to speak to the churches that we're reaching. But we don't have a staff to make videos. And like you said, we could hire somebody on Fiverr, but they're not going to have the right heart. And so what we really love is that in addition to you guys helping us concept new kits, your team is also able to take a concept that we've already come up with and build it out for us, turn it into something that's more than just one simple graphic. And, you help us create sermons, you help us create the videos, social media, all of those things from something we came up with. Yep. And we're able to hand that off to you and get quality back, which has been really great.
So you mentioned quality. How important is quality? And it's to this issue of custom too. If you do it custom, you can bullseye into your message that you're trying to communicate. So the bumper can explain the concept of the sermon in a short, succinct way to prime the pump for the pastor, things like that. So how is custom like that, where it's a bullseye into the content, and how important is quality to the churches that you're working with?
I think quality is super important today. If you think about the people that a church is trying to reach, that are not attending church right now, they're on YouTube. They're on Facebook. They're seeing videos being produced by other companies. They're watching commercials all the time. They're watching trailers for movies. And so they expect a certain level of quality in their videos and in their graphics. And so, I don't know about you, but I've wandered onto some websites that you can tell they haven't been updated in a while. And it's like, oh gosh, that looks so old. And you make subconscious decisions about, or judgments, really about that company, And so I think
or church
that the people we're trying to reach expect quality. And so, because we are called to be, the best, to represent Jesus to our world, then I do think it's important that we provide that quality. And I think a lot of times churches don't know how to get there. They don't have somebody on staff who can make a quality video for them, and they want the quality, but they don't know how to get it. And I think both of our companies are excellent at providing a resource that they can turn to. Yeah. And a pastor can come up with a great concept for a sermon series, and he can come to you guys and get a video made that matches that. Or he can come to us and be like, hey, this is what I was looking for, and this looks much better than what my team can put together in a week.
I'll throw a wrench in things and say definitely strive for quality, but this always pains creatives to hear, but sometimes ugly works, right?
Yeah.
If that's all you got, Holy Spirit can still use it, right?
Oh,
and so 100%. If you just doing something is better than nothing for sure.
Yes.
And sometimes ugly works. Like I think about like as we're doing advertising on like display ads on websites, right? Like we can have this beautifully designed ad, vertical display ad on the side, but readability might be really difficult, right? And so the words are getting cluttered in all of the design, and versus say a big yellow banner with just bold black letters. Sometimes just that really bold clarity works well too. But so I go far this way to kind of bring it back to center. I also think back to when I was in Boy Scouts and growing up, and
Such
our
a
troops,
long time ago. Oh my goodness.
our troops, we would make the meals and then invite some of the adults in, and we would always say, "Hey, it's all about making the plate look good, right?" And it's almost like you go out to eat and you get this slop on your plate. Well, sometimes like ugly works and it fills you up, but if you've got a nicely designed plate, it's just looks better and might kind of mentally, like you're thinking through it, it might taste a little better. Looking good certainly helps you stomach things a bit more. So,
good. Yeah. All right, Carrie, as we kind of wrap up, I love the fact that one, we work so closely together making these kits and doing things together, but that we're a great stepping stone to each other, meaning church visuals. If a church comes to us to make their stuff, you are a great next step in getting that stuff printed on banners and invite cards and all of that. So kind of explain how if a church uses us for their series graphic, bumper, that sort of thing, how can they take that and then come to you guys to help with their outreach needs?
Sure. So, if you are a church and you have graphic files from a professional designer like someone at Church Visuals, and you want to put an outdoor banner outside in the lawn by your church so that people driving by can see that you're having a special series or a special event. If you want to mail a postcard to the neighborhood around your church, inviting them to come to your series, you can upload those graphics to us. We can help you create whatever products or tools that you need to reach out to your community. So if you want to give your people a little invite card, a little square invite that they can hand to their neighbors, to the lady at the checkout, at the grocery store, whatever, we can accommodate that. We have people you can talk to, or we even have an online editor where you can upload an image, you can upload a logo for your church, you can do everything online, and we'll just print it and ship it to you. As Jamie said earlier, we do large format banners in all shapes and sizes on fabric, vinyl, indoor, outdoor, whatever you need. We do all kinds of invitation tools, and all of that can be customized to fit your church with your graphics, with whatever message you want to put on it. We also can help you come up with messages, because we do help write, invitation tools to the community on a regular basis. So if you're like, I just don't know how to say this, we can help you figure that out too.
Yeah, good. Quick story here. So I had a pastor on last season. He's from Canada. And I said, give me a story of life change that happened in your church. And he said, we did door hangers. So we had door hanger. We took this was actually a ready-made product, but we took a ready-made sermon series and converted that graphic to a door hanger using the graphic that we got off your site. We did a canvas in the community, door hangers on doors. And one Sunday, a lady came and brought the door hanger and said, look, this is what got my attention right here, was the door hanger of this graphic. It was so compelling that I had to come hear what was going on here. And me and my husband gave our lives to Christ today. And it was because of this banner on my door that got my attention. Now, was it the door hanger rather? Was it the door hanger that that saved this lady. Absolutely not. It's the Holy Spirit. But the visual that then went to print, that
Yes.
got to the door hanger, got the attention of this couple. They came to church, heard the gospel. The gospel was presented well, in an
We've had
appealing way.
staff members who became Christians and then came to work for outreach because they got an invitation in their mailbox, and it changed their lives. And we hear crazy stories. I've heard stories about people who move into a new house, and when they're going to put stuff away in the kitchen, at the back of a drawer they find an invite card from a church that the person who lived there before them found.
Wow.
It just left in the drawer. And so, God can do amazing things, and we just have to be faithful to put it out there for him.
Good. Jamie, put a bow on that for us. Why do your visuals matter? Does it make a difference?
Yeah. Getting an invitation out, getting the message of the gospel out, you're hitting people, planting seeds. God will water it, right? God will, use different people to water it maybe, but ultimately God helps it grow. But I think about, say if you're a church, you're doing all kinds of outreach, you're going all out, you're doing door hangers, invitation cards from, with your members, social media ads, postcards, you're doing it all. People drive up for the first time after they've maybe been debating with this decision for a long time, feeling lonely, whatever they're going through, right? They come into the church. Are they greeted with flag banners? Do they know where to park? Are the people friendly? Like, what is that first 5 minutes experience? It kind of goes to first impressions, right? And if it's dark and dingy and everyone's grumpy, that could impact their salvation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but if they pull up and they've got these different things that says welcome, there's greeters there, people are looking good, they come in. By the time they reach their seats, a lot of times they've already decided before service has even started, before worship has even started, whether they're going to come back or not, right? So they go through that entire experience, park, come in, look up at the screen. They see these beautifully designed graphics, countdown videos, bumper videos, like that entire experience can be the difference potentially between life and death. I mean, it feels extreme to say that, but, somebody could come into the church and be really turned off, or they can come into the church and be wowed, right? It's also, kind of a matter of trying to have excellence within the church and at least, have that plate that's looking good. But I moved to Chattanooga about a year ago from Colorado Springs, and we visited all kinds of churches. Loved visiting all the churches. I loved every single one. We were praying through it. And it's a very clear example that I saw of this church was really, really friendly. They looked so good. They had greeters, graphics were great. It was vibrant. It was full of life. And then we went into some churches, something's wrong here, and it feels, dark. There's, it just wasn't put together. Those things matter. Right. And so, our hope in all of this is to help make that a positive experience for the visitor and for the congregation too, right? Because you want the congregation to feel good about inviting people. What's the experience going to be of their friends and family when they come and visit for a baptism Sunday, right? Or family just coming in from out of town. So, our hope in all of this is to make it really easy for the church, and give it to them and let them decide how they want to use it. So
yeah, good. Well, thank you guys for your time, and mostly I want people to know that this is a team that is serving you as a ministry leader. That our heart is to serve you. Our heart is to figure out the needs of you. We really do listen to you and what's going on in the trenches where you are, and really try to serve you well. And Jamie, Carrie, I know your heart and just what you guys do at Outreach just so comes through in your heart for the church and your love for Jesus. And you guys are great friends and partners in ministry. So thank you for that. And I appreciate you coming on today.
Thank
See you,
you.
Carl. Appreciate you.
It's great to see you.
Hey, ministry leader, in addition to over 40,000 pieces of original content from Church Visuals, you can also purchase producer content a la carte. So just like Amazon Prime, you can filter our library with the Included in Church Visuals Plus checkbox on the filter bar in the library. That will filter out producer content and just show you original content that we've produced that's included in your subscription. So original content and content from other great producers, all at churchvisuals.com. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel on YouTube for more free training for your church or ministry. As we wrap, here's your Church Visuals tip of the week. Crafting custom visuals will help you deliver a message that hits the felt needs of your community. So one thing that we do with Outreach is meet with them in person once a year or so, and we talk through the felt needs of the culture and craft church kits that hit those felt needs. So you can use ready-made and adapt it, and it works, but custom visuals allows you to hit the bullseye of the felt needs of your audience. If you want to reach the people that you want to reach for Jesus, your visuals matter. I'll see you next week. Your Visuals Matter has been a podcast presentation of Church Visuals. Executive produced by Carl Barnhill, edited by AJ Schubert, title and show graphics by Angie Lomas. For more resources to help you visually communicate the gospel, visit churchvisuals.com.